Welcome to your Zodiac Yoga experience. I'm so excited to move through all 12 signs in the Zodiac in this powerful somatic synchronization with the stars. Go ahead and grab your yoga mat and come to the top of it, bringing your 2 feet together and closing down the eyes or just softening the gaze as you inhale. Inviting in the prana, the life force, the breath with an inhale. And exhaling, deeply surrendering, releasing stagnant energy. Inhaling, filling yourself up, nourishing yourself with the breath. And exhaling, cleansing, clearing out and releasing. Beginning to inhale and inflate the low belly like a balloon as you inhale. And exhale, contracting, hugging the navel in as you exhale. Allow the low belly to be the engine of the breath. Gaze is soft. Filling the lungs with air with every inhale. Exhaling, continuing to practice this deep breathing, maybe even bringing in your ujjayi or victorious breath, slightly constricting the back of the throat to create the sound of the ocean. As you fill the low belly with breath and contract. In this yoga embodiment experience, you're going to get a direct experience of yoga. Continuing to breathe here with a soft gaze, closed eyes, just tuning into the rhythm and flow of the breath. We're going to embody astrology as lived wisdom in our being. And moving through first Aries, fiery cardinal Aries, and then into fixed earthy Taurus, and so on and so forth. Let's fire it up with a round of sun salutations to get into the Aries flow. Lifting the arms up as you inhale, melting the shoulders down, gently back bend, and then exhaling, diving forward with a flat back, releasing to the earth. And gently lifting and lengthening, engaging the core here. Pressing the hands down into the earth, shoulders over wrists, step back into your plank posture and just take a moment here. Maybe even visualizing the sun at the navel. Engaging the solar plexus, hugging the navel in and activating the core. The legs are caffeinated, the crown's reaching forward while my heels are reaching back. I'm getting longer. My gaze is a little bit in front of me. And then we're going to exhale all the way to the earth, placing the forehead on the ground. And we're going to rise up into a little Shalabhasana here, placing the palms down, arms reach back. And we're going to lift up, pressing the pubic bone and opening the heart, beginning to create some of that optimism that Aries is known for. Inhaling, coming up, lifting up. The neck is long, the gaze is forward. And we're lifting and opening the heart even more here. Gorgeous. Pressing the pubic bone down into the earth. And breathing here for 3 breaths. Opening the heart, practicing optimism. Aries, perhaps Aries' most likable trait, their optimism. And firing up your breath, ujjayi, victorious breath, the ram, the cardinal fire energy is determined to be victorious. Blasting through obstacles. And release. And pressing back and up to our downward facing dog. Exhaling deeply in your downward facing dog. Practicing that fiery ujjayi breath. Releasing the brain, letting it be heavy in the head. Letting the neck release. Aries rules over the head. Even Aries people, if you have a lot of Aries in your chart, you might be prone to headaches, head injuries. Aries is that headstrong first spark of fire at the beginning of the zodiac. It's the beginning of our evolutionary journey on our tour of all 12 signs. Continuing to breathe here deeply, lifting the seat a little higher. The gaze is at the navel, the solar plexus. Maybe pedaling out the legs. There's no need to be perfect here. Aries isn't concerned with the details. They're just ready to fire it up and go. And then when you're ready, either hopping by gazing forward, lifting the seat, or stepping to the top of your mat and rolling up the spine vertebra by vertebra, stacking the hips. And the chin comes up last. Reach up to greet the sun. Perhaps a small smile or a big one comes to your face as you bring your hands to your heart center. Feet are together. And releasing the hands down, palms facing forward, bask or repose in the after effect of this Surya Namaskar. Worshipping the fiery sun, seeing if you can begin to warm up the body and spark a fire. The cardinal energy of Aries is initiating. And moving through another round of Surya Namaskar, reaching the arms up, inhaling, opening the heart optimistically, maybe smiling as you bring the hands together, bowing through the heart center. Gently lift, gently coming into a forward fold, maybe bending the knees as necessary. Gently lift and lengthen, pausing for a moment in your half posture here, half lift. Pressing the firmly into the floor, shoulders over wrists, stepping back and taking a moment to pause in our plank posture, activating the core. We're going to come down into a plank pose. So you can either bring the hands together here or make 11s parallel your forearms here into our low plank to really activate and engage the core just for a minute. Noticing your reaction to this challenge. Do you shy away from it, or are you ready to blast through? Connecting to that Aries energy, fire it up. Breathing here. You got this. Creating that individuated sense of self, the identity that Aries is known for. And then we're going to lift back and lift our seat into our downward facing dog. Gorgeous. Spending a few moments here in this modified version of downward facing dog. And then we're just going to press through the hands and the palms, lifting yourself up to a down dog for a few deep breaths here. Gorgeous. And we're just going to come through to a seat to get really grounded, moving out of the cardinal fire of Aries and into our Taurus energy. Come to a seat on your mat to connect into the first earth sign in the zodiac, fixed earth. It is that rooted, grounded, consistent energy of Taurus. So feel your sit bones firmly rooted on the ground and soften the gaze. We're going to slow it down, taking that fire we just created and grounding, earthing it. Feeling yourself a little bit heavy even as you lift up through the spine. And perhaps imagining your roots penetrating down deep into the earth. We're going to open up the legs into a wide-legged forward fold here. So releasing the legs and perhaps bringing a block forward to support you or any props to create that stability that we're looking for here in this posture. And keep continuing to breathe deeply here. Gently, if needed, tilting the hips forward by rolling up the mat or getting a pillow under your seat. And then we're just gonna bow forward for a moment, staying lifted, or if you like, just reclining. And connecting into that reliable, steadfast breath, that consistency of the breath. Taurus is stabilizing, grounded, and loves to move slow. Ruled by Venus, wants to have and possess beautiful things. So just taking a moment to experience your practice through the senses. And as you continue to breathe here in your wide-legged forward fold, opening up and grounding down. Beginning to notice in a little meditation on the sensual pleasures of our practice, the sensation of the air on your skin. See if you can notice the feeling of the mat underneath you. Perhaps the sensation of the ground that you're touching and your fingertips. Feeling the sensation of the breath on the nose as you inhale and exhale. Beginning to become aware of the feeling of your clothing on your skin. And continuing to meditate on the sensation of the body, perhaps going internalized with this experience, feeling the digestive enzymes in the stomach, the feeling of the muscles stretching, maybe even perceiving and sensing the blood flowing through the veins, and the sound of the breath. Taking a moment to slow down and enjoy. And then coming up to release, perhaps supporting your knees here and allowing the legs to come out in front of you. We're going to take a forward fold with a meditation on the root at the level of the perineum. So at your seat, imagining a green ball of energy, your Muladhara chakra, activating this with your imagination, visualizing either a red or a green ball, whatever you associate more with earth. And just feeling into this heaviness, this rootedness from this point before bowing forward and releasing into your forward fold. Maybe you like to have a block to support you. We're not going to be here very long. Just keeping the lower lumbar spine safe, lifting up and out of the pelvic bowl as you come forward here. Noticing what happens if you engage your quads, like contracting the top of your quads to relax the hamstrings. Just for a moment, exploring and experimenting with this practice. And then finally settling into this earthy, stable, consistent breath and the rooted energy, bringing your awareness to the root chakra, Muladhara, activating this stabilizing, fixed energy, this unchanging, traditional approach to our practice. Just enjoying here as you bring your awareness to the root, Muladhara. Meditating on this point. Becoming aware of this level of your energetic body, the earth element. When you're ready, releasing and coming up, we're going to move into our next zodiac sign on our tour, our embodied tour of the cosmos. We're just going to lift up into our counter pose, Purvottanasana. So coming up into a seat and then placing the hands with the fingers facing forward towards your toes behind you, opening the chest, rolling the shoulders back, and rooting down here just for a moment. Gemini is the sign of the twins, our mutable air sign, quick-witted, versatile, curious Gemini. Get really curious about the conversation we're having here between the pose and the counter pose. For every pose, there's a counter pose, and no one knows that better than communicative Gemini, the sign of the twins. Here we're looking at the polarity of the breath, inhaling and exhaling, the polarity of the pose and the counter pose, and the powerful dynamics of an engaged, meaningful dialogue where we're both listening and responding. So we're going to lift up. You can take this as a bridge pose, bending the knees if you like. So when you lift up, you can come into a tabletop, reverse tabletop, or the full expression of the posture is with the legs straight, opening through the heart, stoking yourself, getting psyched, and then lifting the seat up and releasing the neck back when you're ready. Purvottanasana. Inhaling and exhaling, there's a dynamic conversation happening in the duality of the breath. Inhaling, we expand, and exhaling, we contract. Staying here for a few breaths. And releasing your seat down when you're ready, sitting up and clasping the fingers over the thumbs and rolling out the wrists one way and then the other, maybe shaking them out, being a little bit curious here, not taking ourselves too seriously. And we're going to switch it up, coming over our knees and jumping back into our plank pose, coming through a Chaturanga Dandasana, and inhaling, opening the heart, exhaling back to downward facing dog. Inhaling deeply and exhaling, releasing Ujjayi breath. The gaze is at the navel. The hamstrings are melting towards the earth. The brain is heavy in the skull, relaxing the neck. The clavicles or shoulder blades are smiling, as they say. Or rather, they're kind of exploring here your shoulder blades. So see what happens when you push back, what's going on with your shoulder blades, and then what if you're a little bit forward? So interesting just to explore and stay really curious about the shoulder girdle, what's going on in your shoulders and your shoulder blades here. And just communicating with your body, listening to what wants to happen in your body, listening and responding to your body's cues and needs in the moment, even if that means getting a little bit fidgety here. It's all right. We're in the Gemini Bhav, the Gemini energy. And after you've completed your breath, we're just going to jump or step or hop forward to the top of our mat. We're going to come through a chair pose. And we're going to practice a nice flow between our drinking bird. So we're going to fly, and then we're going to come up into a chair pose, and we're just going to engage in some movement. Gemini is certainly a sign that doesn't like to sit still. So inhaling into our chair pose and exhaling down, lifting the heels into a demi-point and coming forward into our drinking bird, lifting the seat and inhaling chair and exhaling, engaging in the polarized polarity of the dynamic conversation between the chair pose and the drinking bird. And staying in your drinking bird for just a minute and coming up into chair. And then let's bow forward and roll up the spine. Lifting the chin last, opening the heart and bringing the hands together at the heart center. Basking in the after effect of this fun practice, embodying the cosmos, getting a direct experience of astrology so it can live as wisdom in your body. Breathing into the heart and releasing the hands down for a moment. I'm going to move into the watery sign of Cancer, the first cardinal water sign in the zodiac, well, the only cardinal water sign in the zodiac. This is a initiating feminine cardinal energy, and it is all about our emotional safety, emotional vulnerability, and Cancer is the sign of the mother. We're going to activate our second chakra, Svadhisthana chakra, the level of the genitals, by simply bringing our arms up. And we're going to bring the pubic bone forward. It's almost as if I'm back bending, but rather than moving my back, my chest up and back, which I will do in a moment, I'm first going to move my pubic bone forward, making sure I have a nice tucked tailbone. My coccyx is pointing down, and I'm zipping up through the low belly, even engaging my lower bandhas, mula bandha, like a pelvic floor contraction, lifting the genitals and the anus, almost like a kegel, or if you were urinating and had to stop really quickly. I'm drawing the energy in and up here, zipping up, tucking the pelvic bowl, correcting if I have a scoliosis here, and then I'm going to press safely my pubic bone very gently forward, respecting my own limits, even if it's a micro experience. We're really going for the energetic of activating this area of the body, our Svadhisthana chakra, the water element. And then bringing the arms up. And once I brought my pubic bone forward here, really activating and opening the energy channels in my Svadhisthana chakra, second chakra, water element, I'm going to then lift and open my chest. So you can go ahead and open the heart. However, the focus is going to be here on the pubic bone in particular. And just experiencing this for a moment, contemplating the water element, the creativity, imagination, sexuality here. And releasing, coming to standing, and just noticing if that released any energy in your body. Gorgeous. And then we're going to flow like water, lifting the hands up, shoulders melt down, bowing forward into our forward fold here, and releasing the neck for a moment. Gently lift and lengthen before stepping back into our plank pose. We're going to come all the way to the ground here for a moment, and then press back into child's pose. So Cancer is so emotionally sensitive. It's the Cancerian superpowers are superpower of emotions and emotionalism. So here, let us retreat into our child's pose, like the crab. Cancer retreats into its hard shell to protect its soft and tender inner world. Cancer is the sign of the mother, so just allow yourself here to be in child's pose and let the Divine Mother in the form of the earth, Bhumi Devi, comfort and care for you as you breathe in, filling the belly, and exhaling, taking some nourishing breaths here and listening to the breath like the sounds of the ocean, connecting into this powerful water sign. Beautiful. Releasing emotions stored or trapped in the hips in your child's pose. Knees are wide. Hips are surrendering back. And we're going inward. Cancer rules over our domestic life, our home life, and our maternal lineage, our relationship with our mother. Let's see if you can just allow yourself to honor your inner child and care for your inner child in this child's pose. Taking a few more breaths here, connecting into this beautiful, emotional, intuitive, caring side of the mother, Cancer. Beautiful. And then we're just going to take some spinal rolls. So coming up through a tabletop position, we're then going to roll by dropping the hips, the pubic bone, the pelvis down first towards the earth, and then rolling up vertebra by vertebra, lifting the chin and last. And then we're going to come back through a roll like the ocean. And we're going to tuck the chin, press into the earth, arch the upper back here as I press back like I'm in a cat posture, the navel's hugging in, and then I'm going to release back into my downward facing dog. So just exploring your own version of this awesome spinal roll. And breathing in and just imagining you're the ocean, like the waves rolling, and connecting into the fluidity of the emotion here. A few more times, dropping the hips, rolling up the spine, chin comes up last, tucking the chin, pressing through the hands, arching the back, and then rolling back. You might even like to increase the speed once you get a hang of it, if that suits and serves you. Gorgeous. And then we're going to just press back into our downward facing dog, connecting into our next zodiac sign, the second fire sign, fixed fire, Leo, the lion. As you breathe here, bringing in your lion's breath, that's a deep inhale, and then exhaling through the mouth, making the sound ha as you stick out your tongue. So take up space, be bold like a Leo, and inhaling, exhaling lion's breath. sticking out the tongue. You really want to stretch the tongue out, in fact. It has a calming effect on the nervous system. Inhaling. Exhaling. Gorgeous. One more time. Inhaling. And exhaling. Beautiful. Then we're going to just hop through again to the Earth, connecting into the playfulness of the Leo archetype. Leo, as the 5th house in the zodiac, is Leo's house. It's the house and the sign of play and affections, and therefore also rules over children. So let's just be a little bit playful with our practice here. I'm going to activate the core again to connect into this fire sign. So just coming into a little boat pose, sitting up really tall on your sit bones, activating the navel, lifting up and out of the pelvic bowl, creating space between the vertebra, especially the lower lumbar spine, lifting and opening the chest like you're a dancer or performing artist. Leo rules over the performing arts. It's a creative sign. And then we're just going to tiptoe a little bit, switch and alternate the toes, beginning to activate the core, engaging the breath. You can bring your hands then to the back of your thighs and either bring the feet up parallel to the earth, or you can expand into a full boat, activating the core, inhaling and exhaling, continuing to breathe here in your boat. Wobbling is wonderful, shaking is fabulous, and indeed Leo is so fabulous. This glitzy, glamorous sign, the diva of the zodiac. And when you're ready, releasing, we're just going to roll down and practice some back bending to activate that enthusiasm. Leo is super passionate and enthusiastic. So we're just going to open up and lift the hips up into a bridge pose, clasping the hands underneath the seat, rolling the shoulders under if that's supportive for you, and lifting the seat up while keeping the quads, the legs parallel rather than splaying out. So really lifting the hips, the chest comes towards the chin, slightly gently pressing the back of the head into the earth if that feels right for you, and not looking left or right, but keeping the chin straight for safety. Breathing here. I'm really opening through the front of the body. Gorgeous. We're going to prep for future wheels and upward facing bows when we get to Sagittarius. So we're just prepping here, our enthusiasm. Gorgeous. And rolling down the spine. Beautiful. We're going to come up one more time into our bridge pose. Connecting into that passionate, fiery energy of Leo. Shining your heart. Leo has such a big, beautiful heart and has a lot it wants to give to the world. So here we go again, pressing down in through the feet, lifting the pubic bone, the pelvic bowl up towards the sky by engaging the glutes without gripping. And you could even flip your palms up facing the ceiling and bring them underneath your low back to support you here if you like, or feel free to practice with a grasp or whichever arm variation serves you best. Just being sure that your knees are parallel. And breathing here, opening the heart. Breathing deeply. Fire it up. Beautiful. And rolling down the spine, you can release into a short Shavasana for just a moment. We're going to be moving into our next sign of the zodiac, mutable earth, Virgo, the virgin, the one who is whole unto herself, embodying the golden age, mastery through refinement of the details, and our daily habits and routines. So come up to a seat here, and we're going to practice a little Janu Shirshasana. So tucking in the left knee, opening the hips safely, and we're just going to forward fold, getting really earthy and rooted, pragmatic here to connect into the Virgo energy. So the foot can be flexed, and we're going to just bring the navel towards the knee and bowing forward, connecting into your roots, feeling your sit bones on the floor, stretching the hamstring, lifting up and out of the pelvic bowl. The lower lumbar spine is getting longer. And breathing here. If you have some props, if you want, we're not going to be here too long, but you can support yourself or stay a little bit lifted here. But if you want to concave in the back, go for it. So Virgo rules over how we show up to be of highest service in the world. Virgo is a humanitarian sign that wants to serve others through focusing analytically on the details. Virgo says, I analyze. So just notice, see if you can analyze your posture, noticing what's happening in the body. How does this feel? How can I support myself even more here? And coming up, we're going to just switch sides pragmatically. So bending the right knee in and then opening the knee to the side. Sitting up straight, lifting up and out of the pelvic bowl as we come forward, hinging at the waist. Allowing the forehead to come down to a block or the earth here. Just practicing this pragmatism. Virgo rules over our daily habits and routines, and this is a great daily practice. Janu Shirshasana A, bent knee pose. Just breathing here and perhaps asking yourself, how can I show up and be of highest service today? Whenever you're ready, releasing that, we're going to engage in some twisting to support the digestive system. Virgo rules over our digestion. Bringing the feet out in front of you. We're going to tuck the left knee in and under. So my right foot is coming near my left hip bone, and I'm going to cross my right, bend my right knee. My right knee is up, directly up, and my left foot is on the floor. And then I'm going to lift up here through the left side, waist getting long, and then I'm going to twist, bending the knee, gaining some leverage here by anchoring my left elbow to my right knee and twisting from the lower lumbar spine, lifting up and really safely here, and then twisting, looking over the right shoulder here, activating my Vishuddha chakra at my throat. And although Virgo doesn't have a direct correlation with Vishuddha chakra or throat chakra, it is the center of communication. Mercury is the ruling planet of Virgo, the planet of communications, logical analysis, rational thinking. So here, twisting the neck, activating the yang side of the throat chakra, Vishuddha. It's the center of purity, purification, and Virgo has a strong correlation with purity, being the sign of the Virgin. This pure love for the golden age, wanting the golden age and the purity of the golden age to return. Virgo can also be a little bit puritanical, but more so Virgo here is creating perfection and mastery through a subtle, refined details. It's through a mastery of detail, often described as perfectionism, that we attain that higher experience of Vishuddha chakra at the level of the throat. Like a great masterpiece, think of a classical piece of music. In classical art, classical artists are endlessly chasing an impossible perfection knowingly, and that's what really drives and motivates them. And releasing, or just maybe a little counter stretch, before switching to the other side. So you can just bring your left leg over your right here. My right bottom of my right foot is on the earth. My left foot is on the earth while my left knee is pointing straight up. Both of my hips are anchored on the ground. My right knee is bent on the floor and my left foot is coming near my left hip bone. And I'm going to breathe here for a moment, getting taller, lifting up through the right side body, getting really long, and then twisting my sternum, my low back, and then anchoring my right elbow on my right knee. And I'm going to twist and then look over my left shoulder, activating my yin side of Vishuddha chakra, the throat chakra, the center of communication and mastery, the ether element. Although Virgo is an earth sign, so feeling rooted and stable, grounded through the hips and the sit bones at the same time. Here we're twisting to activate our digestion, to detoxify and encourage movement in the stomach. Virgo rules over our digestion, so really caring for our digestive health. In Ayurveda, ancient lifestyle wisdom of India, digestion is the seat of our health, and disease is a result of undigested food left in the stomach. It's just taking a moment to perhaps commit to benefic, good, daily habits and routines that really support your digestion. So eating the right foods intuitively and taking a daily probiotic if that resonates with you as a daily practice. Virgos are daily habits and routines, releasing, maybe taking a counter stretch. Gorgeous, well done. We're going to be moving into Libra. So let's come into some balancing postures. Coming over, rolling over the feet safely, protecting the ankles, stepping back into our downward facing dog. Maybe moving through a Chaturanga Dandasana, opening the heart, pressing back, and then stepping and hopping forward and rolling up the spine. Gorgeous. And we're just going to come into a tree posture. So bringing your 2 feet together, finding the axis of your being, the plumb line, your core channel along the spine or Sushumna Nadi. Awakening and activating this energy channel. Finding the difference, feeling into your right and left side. Here, Libra is the scales. It's the sign of balance. So let us bring the right knee up, opening the right knee out, clasping at the ankle, and then placing the bottom of the right foot on the inside of the left thigh without dumping out in the hip, staying long and lifted here, finding your drishti or focus gaze at a single point on the floor. Getting taller, lifting up through the crown, the chin is parallel to the earth. We can bring our hands up or even at the heart center, whatever you desire. Here we're looking at balancing our left and right sides as well as balancing the breath. Let's work with a 6 count inhale and a 6 count exhale. So inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And continuing to inhale and exhale in a balanced way to encourage that homeostasis and harmony of the nervous system. Inhaling, gauging the sympathetic nervous system for 6 counts. And exhaling, engaging the parasympathetic nervous system for 6 counts. And then we're going to just release that, maybe shaking out the left leg before coming to our second side, bringing our feet together, finding our equilibrium at the center of our being here. And then lifting up the left knee, clasping at the heel if that's supportive for you, and placing the bottom of the left foot firmly on the inner thigh. There's some kind of dynamic oppositional action here. Well, not only am I pressing the bottom of my left foot into my inner thigh, I'm pressing like my inner thigh into the bottom of my left foot, because I'm not simply going this way and dumping out through my hip. I'm staying long and lean, this line here, active and engaged. My bandhas are lifting. My heart is open without lifting my chest, because that would pull on my neck if I lift my chest. I rather want to drop my sternum down and really open my heart by melting my shoulders down. There is always a place for a back bend, but if we're constantly in a back bend lifting our chest, it's doing a disservice to our neck. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. Drop the sternum down, roll the shoulders back, and lifting the heart sometimes, but not all the time. And just staying here, balancing on your second side, finding your drishti or your gaze, just noticing the difference between sides, bringing the hands to the heart center, or maybe up above you as you drop into your equal breath. Libra is the sign of partnership. Our committed partnerships. How do we create balance and reciprocity, harmony in our partnerships? Connecting to that Libra energy of the scales to support us. This is a masculine air sign. Taking initiative to create harmony in the world and justice. Releasing the foot down to the earth, we're going to practice half moon pose, my favorite. So we could flow into this, but let's just step into it. So if you want to flow from a warrior two, feel free. Otherwise, you can grab a block if you need. And we're going to lift up and come over to our half moon pose, finding our drishti or our gaze, stacking the hips on the coronal plane. Activating the back leg, the legs are super active here. And just finding balance for a few breaths on my right side, or whichever side you prefer. We bring the right side first because we're supporting the digestion when we move from right to left with the ascending colon and descending colon. And coming up when you're done on that side, have fun. And we're going to move into our second side, grabbing a block, or you can move in from the earth itself. So moving into it, I like to move into it from above. Negotiating your body and space, proprioception, your awareness of your body and space. Noticing the difference between sides and seeing if your focused gaze can help you balance. It's a secret to balance. A drishti, a single pointed focus, as well as core strength. Beautiful. How can we create balance and harmony, reciprocity in our relationships? And releasing, well done. Going to move into our Scorpio activation. So activating that Scorpio depth of focus and concentration, coming to your mountain pose, bringing your 2 feet together, beginning to drop in super deep into your breathing and your breath. Let the breath transport and deliver you, take you deeper as you soften your gaze, closing your eyes down. Scorpio is this penetrative, deep, investigative sign. So as we move through our next round of Surya Namaskar, connecting into the depth of this intense, focused energy and letting this concentration take you into your meditation. Concentration is the methodological step before we enter into meditation. It's a prerequisite often in general. Negotiable, but yeah, in general. We must be focused and concentrating to achieve a meditative state. And Scorpio has that powerful focus. Intensity is the word we associate with Scorpio. So as you inhale, tracing the movement with the breath, one movement, coming up, opening the heart, inhale, exhaling, diving down with reverence and devotion. Just taking a moment here in our forward fold, letting the brain be really heavy in the head, and internalize your focus. Go deep. Let the breath transport you and transform you. Scorpio is the sign of transformation. This sign of extremes. Gently lift and lengthen, bringing the hands down to the earth. Step back into your plank posture and stay here for a moment. Inhaling and exhaling. Let's practice knees, chest, chin to the earth here. And let's glide forward into a low cobra. Beautiful. And we're just going to come into a Sphinx posture here. So bringing the forearms in front of you, parallel, spread the fingers wide, and press down through the arms and open the heart. This is a beautiful heart opening practice, also grounding through the pelvic bowl here. We're going to practice the Sphinx because Scorpio is such a mysterious and secretive sign, full of mystery, just like the Sphinx in Egypt. So in your Sphinx posture here, opening through the heart and surrendering into the depth of your practice, the mystery of Great Spirit, inhaling and exhaling, deepening the breath. Closing down the eyes. Getting investigating, researching what's going on inside of your being in the darkness. Breathing deeper. Drop in. Few more breaths here, investigating the depths of your being, the great mystery, letting the breath deliver you, transform you. You can even breathe with the expectation that the breath will transform you. And let's release it down, bringing either the forehead, let's bring the forehead to the floor. And rocking the hips side to side, releasing here. Gorgeous. And we're going to press up and back into our downward facing dog. Beautiful. And then hopping through, again, we're going to practice upward facing bow for Sagittarius. After Scorpio comes Sagittarius, the sign of an enthusiastic sign ruled by the benevolent, wish-fulfilling planet Jupiter, this expansive sign that loves international travel, adventure. So these back bends are known to be really corresponding with Sagittarius because it creates enthusiasm, and Sagittarius is a really enthusiastic sign. Great. So let's come on to our belly again here. And we're going to start just warming up a little bit by clasping the right foot with the right hand. And then we're going to practice a one-sided bow pose, upward-facing bow pose. So Sagittarius is depicted as the centaur, is half man, half animal. It's actually Centaur Chiron. And Centaur Chiron has a bow and arrow representing aiming for a higher fire, a higher truth. Sagittarius is the truth seeker, the one who climbs the mountain to find the philosophical truth of life. So this is our upward facing bow pose, just like the centaur shooting its arrow of philosophical truth, aiming higher. So aim high here. Press down through the pelvic bowl on the right side, getting grounded. You might like to bring your arm in front of you like in a half Sphinx pose, or however it might be supportive in a low cobra posture here. And we're just going to lift up on the right side And this is challenging for me in particular. So if this is hard for you, I feel you. And lifting up through the heart, really pressing and just noticing how the grip on the ankle, the leverage you can create, supports you. And then we're going to release down. And if you have any knee problems, this might not be the right pose for you. You could practice a low cobra or a Sphinx pose, come back into downward facing dog. And we're going to clasp the left ankle with the left hand and just pressing the ankle into the hand, creating this kind of oppositional force here to leverage ourselves up, and then pressing, lifting through the left side, just beginning to awaken the quadricep, lifting up through the heart. And staying here for a few breaths. I'm cheating with my arm in front of me. You can cheat too if you want. And then releasing, and then we're going to come into the full expression of the pose. If you found that to be strenuous on your knees, you might want to skip the upward facing bow, Dhanurasana. We're going to press down, we're going to bend both knees, clasp both ankles here. You can experiment with the feet flexed for extra support or toes pointed. And we're just going to press back and lift up. You can even rock back and forth if you're so inclined. Pressing the pubic bone into the earth. Lifting the heart. More. Feeling the fire. Feeling the heat. Gorgeous. And releasing down, swaying up the hips, maybe windshield wipering the knees or the feet side to side. And then we're just going to press back into Vajrasana, lightning pose for a moment. Do you feel the enthusiasm and optimism pulsing through your body? Just reposing, basking in the after effect of your Dhanurasana, the pose that's said to correspond with Sagittarius. And then coming through onto your back, we're going to do a round of back bends to just continue to open up that beautiful, enthusiastic energy of Sagittarius. Just one round of back bends. So bringing the feet to the floor, the knees are facing up, the legs stay parallel rather than opening up. So activating the legs. And we're going to flip the palms, elbows up, and also working to keep the elbows parallel. Stoke yourself up, get sight, and then lift your hips. I'm pressing forward actually through my feet. Bringing my heart, chest forward. Stretching my belly. Looking down at the floor, releasing the neck. A few breaths here. And releasing down. Vertebra by vertebra. And releasing into a Shavasana, just noticing the enthusiasm, the energy this brings into the body and the being. And taking a moment just to aim true for that higher philosophical truth. If you're a truth seeker, and Sagittarius is a great sign for you. Beautiful. Capricorn is going to be working really hard to achieve what it desires in this life. So let us just rock and roll up to the top of our mat, coming to stand, and we're going to actually just sit back into chair pose, activating Capricorn's stern, hard-working energy. So you can come into your chair pose, sitting back into your office chair, because Capricorn rules over your office and your home and your career. It's also your paternal lineage and your relationship with your father. So just making sure you can see your toes and sitting back here is going to work hard in our chair pose for a moment, focusing the gaze on a single point. With Capricorn, you always get out what you put in. It is the sign of, ruled by Saturn, planet of karma, the transformer, Father Time, Titus, Kronos. Sitting back into your chair, working hard. Capricorn rules over our knees. So if you have a lot of Capricorn in your chart, you want to take extra care of your knees. Getting longer, feeling the heat, feeling the pressure. Capricorn is so ambitious, climbing the mountain of success, seeking status and responsibility in the public sphere. And whenever you're ready, standing up, gorgeous. And our 11th sign, Aquarius, we're going to work with our yogic technology here with Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign that rules over technology. So coming to your knees, let's practice some pranayama. So yoga is a science. Looking at this as an experiment, you're going to practice this Bhramari pranayama, which is a little bit eccentric and unique like Aquarius itself. And in this Bhramari pranayama, you're going to take the experiment and then you're going to notice and observe, use your mental power of discernment to evaluate if this worked for you or not, or what happened. So here we're going to take our fingers, your clean hands, to your clean face, and we're going to close the right nostril with the thumb. I'm taking my middle and index finger and pointing towards my kutastha, or my third eye center, Ajna chakra even. And I'm going to close off the right side of my nostril and inhale deeply through the left nostril. There's no count, it's just a full deep inhale. Then I'm going to take my thumbs and close off the flaps of my ears. Take my first finger and point it towards the interior fontanelle or the Brahmarandra. Then I'm going to place the rest of my fingers, like my ring fingers kind of coming to my widow's peak, and then my clean pinky fingers are coming to my brows. If you need to wash your hands before you do this practice, please do. Otherwise, let us begin. A deep, full inhale through the left nostril, closing off the right nostril, inhaling. Did I say we're going to make the sound of the buzzing bee? Okay, I forgot to tell you this. So we're going to make the sound of the buzzing bee, this Bhramari pranayama. You're going to make the bee sound, and it's going to, the vibration and resonance is really going to clear out our energy and create this sattvic, refined, energetic energy. It's going to sublimate the energy. So we're going to make the buzzing sound. All right, let's try. Watch me, the first round. If you know, dive right in. And long deep breaths, closing down the eyes and bringing your pratyahara, inward drawing of the senses, drawing the senses inward. Keep going. And after your third or so round, pausing, basking in the after effect, and noticing the effects of this Bhramari pranayama on your entire being. Aquarius is the futuristic, progressive sign that rules over technological advances. Aquarius, the water bearer, wants big social change and is a sacred rebel. So just allowing yourself to experiment and explore with this eccentric sign, feeling into that rebellious and electrifying sudden energy of Aquarius, ruled by Uranus. And then releasing, we're going to come into our final resting pose to connect to the culminating sign of our evolutionary journey through the zodiac, Pisces. So rolling down at the spine, coming into Shavasana, corpse pose. Surrendering, melting into the floor beneath you. Pisces is the sign of ultimate spiritual surrender. And it's the sign of endings and release. Let go. And feel the harmonious distribution of all the energy you cultivated through your entire being. Like a warm wave of relaxation coming over you. Pisces is mutable water. It's feminine sign. Rolling over the unseen mystery, spiritual realm, and as well as our sleep and dreams, the astral plane. This lucidity, so allowing yourself to fall into a beautiful daydream, a lucid state as you surrender deeper here. Connecting to the dream body, the dream world, and seeing what your intuition has to share with you as you rest here. And continuing to connect into this beautiful surrendered energy of Pisces as you finish your practice, surrendering deeper, letting go, and connecting to that oneness consciousness, maybe even feeling the dissolving of the body outline, a feeling of merging, like being in the ocean. And staying here for as long as you possibly can. And then when you're ready, wiggling your fingers and toes in your own time. No need to hurry. Rolling over to one side into a fetal position. And then pressing up to join me in a seat. Bringing the hands to your heart center. Thanking yourself for taking this embodied tour of the zodiac. Join me if you'd like to go deeper into this work together in our Zodiac Yoga series over at moongirlastrology.com. We have 12 25-minute classes for you to explore and experience. Sign up now. This is an awesome opportunity to dive deeper into an embodied, direct experience of astrology. I'm Carrie Elizabeth, Moon Girl Astrology, sending you lots of love. Namaste.